Damien, BT has signed a contract with Syniverse here at LTE World Summit. What does the deal cover?
So what we've done is signed a white label agreement with Syniverse to basically take advantage of their LTE roaming direct relationships around the world. So this is essentially about filling out our own LTE roaming capability. BT's been in the signalling market for quite a number of years for traditional services, S7 and SIG-TRAN globally, and we've got quite a substantial footprint. We've been investing heavily over the last few years in LTE and filling out our LTE roaming capability, including the installation of diameter signalling kit in all of the GSMA peering points, Amsterdam, Ashburn and Singapore. But obviously it's becoming the ramp up on LTE, and I think the demand from the operator side is starting to pick up, and in the interest of making sure that we're out there with market leading direct relationships, we're coming to the market with this relationship in place with Syniverse, which essentially gives us about 100 direct access locations for LTE roaming globally.
So which of your customers will benefit from this deal?
Global mobile network operators. So we're obviously in the business of trying to support MNOs globally in provisioning their roaming requirements to their customers. I'm representing the wholesale part of BT, so this is obviously, before we start having discussions around what we might be in a year or so's time, there's a lot of conversation in the market at the moment about what we might become. But at this stage, from my perspective, representing the wholesale side of BT, what we're trying to do is support global MNOs to provision roaming services to their customers. So we've done that very effectively, I think, in the 2 and 3G space for some years now. As I mentioned, it's all a legacy of the days where we used to, in fact, be a mobile operator in the UK. We've invested heavily in this LTE roaming capability in terms of domestic and international infrastructure. And we've obviously also then been building out the Wi-Fi roaming capability, which we'll be talking more about and launching in July. Essentially, it's about going to a global mobile operator and saying, you can come to BT and procure all of your roaming requirements in one place for 2 and 3G, for 4G, and for Wi-Fi.
You mentioned 2G and 3G. Does this deal also cover M2M?
So not yet. As I say, there's obviously been a lot of news in the press around BT's more macro discussions in the mobile space. We have already launched a domestic mobile service in the UK. BT Mobile is up and running and available for customers to consume today. That's running as part of an MVNO with EE. So at the moment, those IoT relationships are being managed by EE. What happens in the future, I suppose, as relationships and change, we'll have to wait and see.
Why has it taken so long to get LTE roaming to market?
I'm not sure. I guess we'd have to ask the mobile operators that question, perhaps more pertinently. But I think it's just one of those things. It's an evolution, right? I mean, MNOs globally are making significant investments in their own LTE infrastructure. It's taken some time, I think, to get to the point where we have a global footprint of operators with infrastructure in place and a 4G capability that would enable seamless 4G roaming internationally. It is happening. I mean, I roam constantly in my job, and I'm carrying around more than one mobile device usually, and I've started to see more and more frequently that I'm roaming on 4G instead of 3G. I think it's just one of those things that takes time for operators to put the relationships in place, to have built out the infrastructure, and for there to be adequate global reach to make it ubiquitous.
As LTE technology evolves, what new services will you offer to your customers?
Well, I think our job is, as I say, in a wholesale context, my job and our job in Global Telecoms Markets for BT is to make life for our customers as seamless and easy as possible. For us, that means staying abreast of evolutions in the technology for sure. So as the market moves, as we start to explore 5G, as whatever that might be, I think it will certainly be something that we're looking at and evolving with. But at the moment, for us, the story is all about 2 and 3G. LTE and Wi-Fi, and the combination of those 4 services to bring together an end-to-end service in terms of roaming capability for our global customer base.
Damien Staples, thank you very much.